tonight for the dignity of man and the destiny.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you're listening to this. This is This American Podcast Comedy Edition. I'm Tony Visick, coming to you from the ComedySchools.com studios high above Scottsdale. I'm sitting here with two people that I've already become fast friends with in just a few minutes. One who I saw many years ago, and I'm so glad to be speaking with, Erik Meyers.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing? And one who we just met, Quigley.
Hey, what's up?
And we're already trading Hollywood stories because I live in Maine. It turns out we have mutual friends.
Of course.
And I just want to break this in by saying I saw Erik Meyers at a... First off, if you're listening this morning live, they are at the Laugh Factory at the corner of near the corner of Scottsdale and Shea, where Paul Rodriguez and Paul Hopp have brought the Laugh Factory to the Valley of the Sun. And they are there this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with some great promo deals. They got a great promo code going. So if you are in town Labor Day weekend looking for things to do, I'm going to highly suggest come down to the Laugh Factory. Go to the Laugh Factory this weekend, where they're doing really great, and see these two very funny people, along with Gene Pompa.
Yes.
Who I met in the 80s, and I think is still hungover from that time and didn't make it in.
Yes, I think you're right.
Gene, we texted him this morning, but I think he's sound asleep.
So, Erik, I saw you several years ago at another club in town, and where they were putting on what was supposedly a clean comedy show. It was kind of a boring comedy show. I was walking through the lobby with my business partner, a guy I promote shows with, and I saw the manager talking to you, and I cannot make out if they were trying to explain to you what kind of show it was, or you explained why you couldn't go on, but you were weaving.
Hammered.
You were hammered.
I was hammered.
And I remember saying to my business partner, I go, that dude is loaded.
I was loaded.
And I said, we got to watch this. I actually said that. I go, that dude's loaded. We got to watch this. I go, this is going to be fun. So we went in. I had a table there that I sat at, and I sat at the table, and you went on stage. And within 5 minutes, I looked at my partner, Kevin O'Day, and I said, this is one of the funniest guys I've ever seen in my entire life. I go, this guy is brilliant. And I go, they'll never hire him. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I remember flying out. I never liked flying, so I would always take like Xanax or like Ambien on the airplane and drink. And I think I landed, and I kept drinking, and I went to the club. And I had called the club because I knew they had like best of local people, and I was living in Maryland or Virginia at the time, and I called to try to get into the club. I was like, I'll fly down there on my own dime, do a guest spot, and try to get booked as a feature. And I went there so loaded, they're like, dude, we can't let you up like this. We can't let you up like this. It was Adam, who's now the GM of the Comedy Store, and I was like, oh, fine, I can do it. He's like, well, we can't sell you any more alcohol. So I went downstairs to get a beer. They turned me down. So I went up, they're like, you're up. I don't remember what I said or what I did, but like for years I was still getting like, people were like, when are you coming back to Phoenix?
It was you did a well. You know, first off, I know that the manager Eddie, he was the general manager at the time.
Yep.
Eddie, and Mark was saying, I want clean shows. I want to go back to the 70s, and Mark was a wonderful guy, but that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
And Eddie was Eddie was standing not too far from where I was, and Eddie and I had a little business rivalry. It wasn't bad, but we had a business rivalry, and whenever anything might have been bad happened to one of us, go, hey, I heard your show didn't do that well. That's too bad, buddy. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking over him, and he's holding his head in his hands, almost crying, because he's so afraid he's going to get in trouble. And that made your show doubly funny for me, because Eddie was freaking out.
Yeah.
The audience is roaring, and you had a bit about being... I want to lead... You know what bit I'm talking about?
Which one?
Okay, the bit was about being depressed and taking
yes,
and then not being able to
get an erection. Well, they had I'm not on any medication now, but there was a time, kind of in the late 90s, early 2000s, every commercial was for like, are you depressed? Do you have social anxiety? And the symptoms were like, are you tired ever? Do people get on your nerves ever? And you're like, I have social anxiety. So I feel like everyone was clinically depressed for like 10 years. Everyone was on these medicines, and they made it really impossible to get an erection or to ejaculate during sex. So I was like, well, that's fucking depressing. First of all, now I'm even more depressed. And so I had that bit about how you couldn't fake your orgasms when you're with a woman.
But but the capper on it, that was all fun. It was hilarious. And I was almost falling out of the stool. But about how women
I forgot I even had that.
How women can fake an orgasm, but that men can't. You go, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Throw yogurt in her face?
Yeah, to start throwing yogurt in her face. Why is there fruit in this? I'm like, I'm a vegan.
That's hilarious. You should do that tonight. I want to see that.
Now,
God, it's an old bit.
You and I have a mutual, very close friend, Rich Scheidner.
Yeah.
Who was really instrumental in starting me in stand-up a long time ago. I just saw him recently at my birthday party in Los Angeles.
Oh, awesome.
We talk, on a weekly basis. We've been at all of each other's weddings. I shouldn't say that when my wife's sitting here, but he was in my last wedding. He came out for the wedding.
Okay.
But he told me one time. He said, if you can remember one joke a guy does, that's a funny guy. And I remember that because for years I'd ask people, I go, is this Erik Meyer guy around? And every once I see a Facebook page, Facebook post of you like laying in a gutter someplace, and I go, okay, all right.
I
He's
did.
on the path.
Yeah, I did. I've been sober for a little bit over a year and a half, but I had. I was an alcoholic addict my whole life, so I started going to AA when I was about 21, which was about 14 years ago, but I would get like 30 days sober, 60 days, 90, and the clubs would be like, okay, Erik, you're sober now? Everything's going good? And then I would just go on a bender, for like a week, get banned from all the clubs, had to get sober again, they'd have me back. This went on probably 100 times, and but it was the last time I relapsed in Hollywood. I had my smartphone on. I hadn't lost it yet, and I was like posting on Facebook. I was sleeping in the bush. Posted that. People were buying me hotel rooms, giving me money for food. I would post pictures of me drinking a Four Loko because I was so blacked out drunk. I didn't know what I was doing.
I remember I'd see those and I go, he'll be all right. If he lives, he'll be all right. He'll be a joke around. I go, there's two kind of comics in the world. The ones that are in AA and the ones that are going to be. And I go,
Oh my God.
He's all right.
That's true.
We also have in studio here Kate Quigley. Hi, Kate.
Hey, how are you?
Who we just met, and you're here at the Laugh Factory with Erik and Gene as well this weekend.
As soon as I heard that they were here together, I was like, I have to be on that show because I love them both so much.
So, did you ever pass out in the bushes like Erik as well?
I've been passed out in the bushes, but I've slept outside once or twice, but on purpose for fun, not because I was homeless.
It's called camping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm thinking of doing that now, actually. I have this great idea that I've been telling Erik how I want to be.
No, I don't like this
Yes,
idea.
it's going to be amazing. Okay, this is my idea, okay?
Right.
Because I also host a TV show back in LA, and if you work on TV in LA, you have to look like, you have to look put together, and that's really expensive. And comics, we don't make a lot of money, so I've been thinking about letting go of my apartment and just camping. So there's really nice campsites in the Palisades, and I love to camp, and I've been thinking about living at a campground, but still keeping like my job hosting the TV show and doing stand-up and going on dates and trying to maintain the image and everything, the lifestyle I have now, but as a camper. Some people call homeless, I'm calling it a person who lives outside, and then like filming the whole thing and posting it on YouTube as like a show.
Erik, what are your thoughts on Kate becoming a homeless person, sleeping in the Palisades?
Okay, I know Kate, first of all, and that will last about 5 minutes.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
No.
Kate, okay, dude. Kate has... First of all, this hotel room, we can just why don't you pull out the couch bed? And she goes, I hate hotel rooms. They have too many germs. They have me living on the streets of Hollywood with literally germs walking around selling things.
Yeah, but dirt is like natural germs. Dirt is like the kind of germs you're supposed to have on you. Like hotel rooms, I feel like it's just gross. People just jerk off on couches and never clean it up.
I did that one time.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
about. I never heard the end of it.
Erik said it 4 times since we checked in. Don't lie.
Was there fruit in it when you were done?
I found yogurt on the couch last night.
In it. Kate wants to be homeless. I'm like, you will be so... Kate is so like... You have ADD like me, and you get bored easy.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be so bored sleeping in a tent.
No,
with
because
no
listen,
stimulus.
Here's what I'm trying to say. I lived outside for one whole summer in national parks, but I traveled and camped for a whole summer.
With your mom and dad in a station wagon?
No, it was with my ex-husband. We had like this gig where we were like touring around for the national parks, and we were like doing live events, and I was hosting. And
can I ask you what show you host in Los Angeles now?
Oh, I host a TV show on the Playboy Channel. It's called Undercover.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about weird sex fetishes people have, and so I basically have like no experience in that realm because I was married for 10 years. So I go out and explore all these weird sex fetishes now that I didn't know existed.
It must be hard to find in Los Angeles.
Yes, it's not easy. It's not an easy job.
Weird sex fetishes, yes. I like to lay my penis on fire. Yawn.
Oh my God, that's this Saturday night's episode. I'm not kidding. Fireplay. People like to
her
on
dad,
fire.
Kate's dad, who we called it, he's like, honey, I got Playboy Channel to watch your show. Uncle Jimmy loved it. It's Kate with like people sticking things up her butt. And
no, it's not, Erik. No,
I haven't
touches
seen it.
my butt.
What? Kate. Kate is not naked on the show.
Never.
Unfortunately.
Never. Thank you.
That's why I canceled my subscription.
That's
Yeah,
right.
No
But-
point having it. There's a woman who hosts Playboy Radio. I forget her name. Red hair. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I honestly, it's weird. Playboy, it's all very separate. The radio from the TV, from the magazine. So I don't really know a lot of people.
I did Playboy Radio once. I met her. My daughter and I were actually flying from here, and she sat down next to us. We started talking, and she lived like 2 doors down from where my brother lived up in Woodland Hills. Said I have a show at Playboy Radio. It was the weirdest radio interview I ever did because they go, all the things I couldn't mention were normal things. You can't mention a product or a place. You could talk about anal sex or sex
Yeah.
in prison. And there was a young girl that came in that was very excited because she was a porn star going, and she's talking to the female host going, you guys, I just did my first gangbang video.
Oh, my
It's
God.
very exciting.
No.
And they're going, hey, I got this comedy show and this workshop. But I mentioned Staples Center, and the producer came flying in and goes, you can't mention Staples Center? You can't mention Pepsi? You said you had Pepsi? I go, but I can mention, you're getting fucked in the face. He goes, yes. I go, okay, all right, fine.
I was at Staples. What's wrong with you pervert? You're talking about her gangbang video. You piece of shit.
You know, it's actually really funny because when I started hosting the show, I didn't know, and I don't know if you guys know this, that when you host a show that's X-rated, there's different levels of X ratings,
Yeah.
which I didn't even know. So they brought in this list for me, and the list is basically like, Kate, we're level like X1, so you can talk about vagina, you can like say the word pussy, but then there's certain things like they're like we can never show butthole, you can never address butthole. Like there's certain things.
All right,
that
what if
aren't-
it's bleached?
Then it's
You can never address butthole.
can never address
If you
butthole.
see a butthole, don't call it by its name. Hello, Mr. Butthole. I told you not to acknowledge the butthole.
It is so
Pretend
funny.
it's not even there.
You know what's so fun about this? In a few minutes, you guys will be doing terrestrial radio, and what I'm actually doing is
I gotta go
destroying you
call into
for it.
this thing.
Go call in.
I'm so sorry.
I'll stay.
Okay, call into my ex-partner. Don't tell him I said hi. But Kate, you stay here. So what's going on? If
I'm
you're
staying.
listening to us live, you listen to the podcast right now, is that we're really flexible here, and we're really about the comics. And when Erik and Kate came in, they said we're supposed to call in to this one place, and when they told me, I go, all right, I know those guys, but it's fine that he's calling in, and so Kate, we're happy. Where are you from originally?
I grew up in Ohio, Canton,
Oh, yeah,
Ohio.
that's right. You told me that.
Yep.
Pro football
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's so funny because I've never been there, but that's how people are, right? Like I've never gone to I was in the parade though every year.
Were you?
I was in the Hall of Fame parade. I was a baton twirler, so that was like the big deal in my town was like trying to find a way to get into the parade. Everyone wanted to be in the Hall of Fame parade.
All right, so you were born. Ohio is I spent a lot of time in Ohio when I was a touring stand-up comic.
Sure.
Rob Lowe's from Ohio.
Yes.
I believe that James Dean's from Ohio.
Really?
I think so. I know that Rob Lowe's from Ohio.
Halle Berry.
Yeah, Halle Berry.
A lot of hot people
That just leave Ohio.
that get out. It's so weird because I always say that I meet so many people in LA who are from Ohio because that's where I live now, and I'm always like, "How did you get out? Like, what's your story?" Not that Ohio is the worst place. I just, Ohio actually is a great place to grow up. Like my town was such
Yeah.
a good place to live. It's like affordable, and it's like all my family still lives there. I'm the only one that kind of made it out, but I remember being 6 years old and begging my mom to move me to LA because I just always wanted to work in show business. So I just always knew. And as soon as I graduated from high school, I left.
And you split for Los Angeles.
I actually went to Chicago first. I went to college in Chicago.
Yeah.
And then I moved to LA right after
Did you do
college.
the Second City thing in Chicago?
I did improv. Yeah, I did Second City a little bit. I did I.O. more, which was called Improv Olympic
Sure.
at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, so you moved to Los Angeles then, 10 years ago?
Oh God, almost now. Yeah, 06.
And was it like the typical thing where you kind of show it up in a car? When I moved to Los Angeles, to give you an idea, I moved from Missouri in
Yeah.
the 70s, and I didn't know a soul out there, and I sold all my stuff and kept a car, and I'm driving out, and then I look up, I see a sign that says Hollywood, next 10 exits, and I go, okay, here. And I saw a sign that said Hollywood Boulevard, I go, okay, here, and I pulled over, and I got a weekly newspaper and found a
No
place
way.
to rent, on Highland Avenue that
Yeah.
was torn down recently. So what was your experience moving to Los Angeles?
Mine was different. So I was married at the time.
Oh, okay.
But my ex didn't want to move there. But he supported me. I was like, listen, I came home from work one night. I was working at a bar. I met an older guy, like he was like 70 years old. And he was like, I always wanted to move to Hollywood. I regret that I never did because I wanted to be an actor. I was like, I don't want to be 70 on a bar stool in Chicago wishing I had moved. So I went home that night and told my ex-husband that I was moving. And I was like, I need to be in Hollywood to do what I want to do. He's like, cool. About a week later, packed up my little Ford Focus I had at the time with everything I could fit in it. I went on Craigslist. I found a dude in Beverly Hills who had like a spare room he was renting out.
Very safe.
Super safe. I drove across country. Funny story, actually, in Nebraska, halfway there, the engine fell out of my car.
It fell out. It didn't.
I'm driving on the freeway doing like 80 miles an hour. All of a sudden I hear a super loud bang and my car just skids to a halt. Thank God it was like the middle of the night and no one was behind me. And we popped the hood and my engine had just fallen out. Like the mounts that hold it in place had sheared off. So I ended up spending a night in Nebraska getting my engine put back in my car. But I just want to say shout out to the Ford Focus because they put in like 4 new bolts and the thing was fine.
Was your husband with you at the time?
He drove with me to LA. So that's what's so funny. So then we get to LA, we meet this guy that I'm going to be living with who turns out to be so crazy. I'm supposed to live in this guy's house for 3 months. I lasted 15 days.
Yeah.
And then I snuck out in the middle of the night, took all my stuff and left because the guy was so crazy. I was there 15 days. He never left the house once. He had everything delivered in. There's nothing wrong with him. He was too paranoid to go outside. He had cameras all over the house. I was like afraid. I was changing my clothes in the shower because I was like scared that he was watching.
Your husband know?
Well, he just dropped me off and went back to Chicago. And then he's like, call me every day, bye. I think the marriage, honestly, at that point, I think we both kind of knew like this isn't going to last, but we did hang on for like 4 more years. We stayed together.
Yeah.
But that was kind of in my mind. I was like, okay, I'm going to go out there and see how I am without him, see how LA is. So I lived with that guy for 15 days. Then I snuck out. I spent a night sleeping in my car, which was fun. And then I found the first apartment I could find, which was like kind of like probably yours, a really bad shithole in Hollywood. It was Section 8 housing.
Yeah.
There was like crackheads living in the hallways. There was a guy who used to swim in the pool every morning in his tighty-whitey underwear, this like really fat old guy. And I would go down and swim laps with him. I was like, hey, what's up?
I had a place on, Cheryl, kind of open it, this is all live and crazy, because that door's locked. So then Erik will try to get in, and then Erik won't be able to get in, and then he'll have low self-esteem issues, and we don't want that.
Not worse, no.
I used to live at the corner of Fountain and Gower, and I had a car that had no hood on it, and I would come home drunk and park it, and then every morning I'd come out and someone had stolen the battery. So then eventually I would park it and just take the battery. It never occurred to me to put a hood on the car.
Hilarious.
It was going to cost too much money.
Someone just kept stealing your battery.
Stealing my car batteries. They'd go by and here's a car with no hood and here's a car battery and they'd steal it.
That's so funny. Yeah, I really loved it. This is how you know when you're doing the right thing, though, because I left Chicago where like my ex made pretty good money and stuff, and I went out there, and the first 6 months I was out there, I was living in a studio apartment, no furniture. I had a TV tray. I was sleeping on the floor, not even on an air mattress. I was sleeping on like a sleeping bag on the floor. I didn't want to spend any money, and I started doing stand-up like right away.
And what club did you start at?
Well, I started out, I actually took a class at Acme School of Comedy. I took a stand-up comedy class. And then, of course, like, I started doing bringer shows at the Comedy Store. Back then, Lovett's Club was open. I would get up at John Lovett's Club a pretty decent amount.
Up at Universal Studios?
Yeah, Lovett's Club was the first club to pass me and start paying me, actually, before they closed in L.A. That was a few years ago. But I was so happy. And that's how I knew I was doing the right thing, because I was living in a total shithole. I had no money. I was barely eating. I had no furniture. It was at Santa Monica and La Brea, which is nice now. Now it's like a nice area. But back then, it was where
the Strasberg Institute is.
Yes, it was really close to
the
there.
Institute a long time ago. I helped them move into that building.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, he's back. He's back.
Erik, we're doing well. We're doing well, Erik. I just want you to know. If you needed to,
Erik knows that I can talk my ass.
Do you need to call another radio station?
They didn't answer. It's just not going through. It's just beeping and not going through. I've tried it like 10 times. So
just give up.
Yeah.
Well, they'll get their thing worked out. So you know what? It's just where you live. We were talking about you because I helped move the Strasberg Institute from Hollywood Boulevard, like where the Wax Museum is now. The Strasberg Institute was upstairs near there. And then I was studying there and helped them move over to the building. There are really? At Santa Monica and La Brea or La Cienega.
La Brea.
Yeah, in Western Hollywood. The greatest burrito joint in the world is right next to the Strasberg Institute, Los Tacos No. 2.
Huh, I've never tried it.
Which is the last place I had dinner before I got arrested and thrown in jail on my last drunk.
Oh,
and I say that to bring Erik Meyers back into the show now. I stepped out for a moment. Yeah.
I'm depressed that I've never been to jail. Like, I mean...
You want to be homeless? You want to be in jail?
What is this?
It's on my bucket list.
You're trying to be me? What are you
I
trying to
just
do?
want to experience jail for like one night. I would almost
you
want to
don't.
check
No, you
myself.
don't.
No, you don't.
I
Have you
want
been
it.
to jail, Eric?
Yes.
Yeah.
Many times.
Yeah, me too.
He feels like he's in jail this weekend, sharing a room with me.
No, I don't. It's the I've been to jail many times. I was arrested in between shows one time. Well, I couldn't drink at the club. There was I was opening for Bobby Slayton in
Bobby Slayton
in Kentucky. Well, the Cincinnati Funny Bone, which is is in Kentucky actually. So I couldn't drink at the club. So I'm featuring. So during the 8 o'clock show, I'm like drinking in the bathroom. I backpack with beer in it, and I had a thing of Xanax, and I was like taking it in the stall. I was like sitting in the stall and drinking beer and taking the Xanax. And then so I do the first show, and then the second show, I after my set on the first show, I walk to there's a Barnes and Noble in the shopping center. I go in the bathroom there and I'm drinking and I pass out on the floor and the cops arrest me. So everyone leaving the 8 o'clock show had seen me perform. She's getting taken out in handcuffs, and they had called the comedy club because I was like, "You can't do this to me. I'm a comedian at the Funny Bone." And then so what happens is, so the next day I called. I was like, "Yeah, I got sick last night. I had to go to the hospital." And I'm like, "Dude, the cops called us, and we could see you being taken away." And they're like, "You're fired." And I was like, "Oh." But
How many clubs have you been fired from?
too many. No, but I've been arrested like so many times. It's horrible.
Well, so now let me ask you. So, like you said, Rich Scheidner's been very instrumental in helping you turn your life around. He's an old friend of mine.
Yeah.
How is all that going for you now? I mean, are you comfortable in your own skin yet, or is it still a little bit of a struggle for you?
I don't know if I'll ever be totally comfortable. Well, yeah, it's gotten a lot better. I would say
good.
it's gotten a lot better. You know, I do a lot of meditation and yoga and stuff because I have such bad anxiety, and I was always on Xanax and stuff like that. But I feel like that really chills me out and makes me feel better. And I got a little bit of once you start getting stuff, and Hollywood's such an intimidating place.
Yeah.
That when I was first there, I was just like, oh my god, I can't deal with all this, and I didn't feel like I was good enough to be there. And then once you start doing it and getting up more, and I can follow this famous guy, or I did, or I went up and bummed, but I'll get up the next night. So it's like I'm more used to Hollywood now, so I'm not quite as freaked out. But when I first moved there, you're on these lineups. I came from Florida, where you can be the big fish in Florida. But, I mean, you come here and it's like, oh, you got to follow this guy who's on TV, or this guy who's famous, or this guy who's like one of the best comics in the world. I'm like, oh man, this is like the major leagues. I'm like, I don't know if I can hack it out here. And I went up and I struggled, and it was intense, man. I remember drinking before shows and taking Xanax in the bathroom, just gotta be shaking and so nervous. And I had to go up and follow these TV people, and I was like, oh my god, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm good enough out here. You know what I mean?
Which is so funny because no one wants to follow Eric. Like huge headliners that have HBO specials, Showtime specials. They're like, is there somebody else that can go on before me besides Eric? Like no one wants to follow him in LA.
One of the first times I did stand up, it was at the Laugh Factory, was where I did my my first open mic night. And Rich Scheidner actually came in when I'd been doing it for about a month and went, you're serviceable. And I go, what does that mean? He goes, you can open for me. I go, we're in West Hollywood. You really need to define your terms here.
Yes, serviceable.
Actually flew me out here to open for him a long time ago. But it was him and a couple other comics that told me something really important, because you're first doing it, and I'm doing it. I start out on the Sunset Strip, and then I work my way to Kentucky,
right?
So I kind of worked back.
Don't you feel like learning, starting stand up in LA? I feel is like boot camp almost in a way. Like I feel like it's such a great training ground, LA or New York, because you are forced to go up after amazing comics.
You start out maybe in a small town or in a mid-sized town, then the mark is maybe a local guy who's really good, trying to be as good as Bobby Thomas, who's been doing it for 4 years.
Right.
But you go to Los Angeles, and then when you finally get on shows, it's like I talked to Rick Overton a couple weeks ago. You're on the same stage with, at the time, Rick Overton. I was getting ready to go on one night, and Dennis Miller and Jay Leno walked in. This is like 30 years ago.
Right.
Hey, buddy, you mind if we go up right before you?
Oh my God, that just happened to me.
Yeah. And so you're on the same stage. So you're really stepping it up.
Yeah.
I almost tell a lot of young comics that if they're going to tour, that you kind of want to stay as maybe not an opener, but a feature for a while, so you get to work with these great headliners. Because I started headlining early because it was kind of like the Civil War. They just needed a lot of bodies.
Right.
And there were so many clubs in the 80s that do, we'll headline. I've been doing it for an hour. You're the headliner.
Yeah.
And they throw all this money at you. But when I started doing that, I was no longer working with Rich Scheidner's and Larry Miller's at the time, and Bobby Slayton, and all these great comics who you could aspire to and watch. But this is what I wanted to tell you that they told me after I came up and I was all jacked up. I'd done like 4 or 5 open mic nights at the Laugh Factory. I go, I'll probably have my own sitcom soon. And a comic, there's a friend of Rich Scheider's named Mike McDonald from Canada. He goes, if you make that audience your higher power, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Something
true.
else. He goes, do the show, get the laughs, and go home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you grabbed onto that concept yet?
You know what, man? It's comedy. Comedy can be a weird thing. I heard somebody say one time, I always watch those like behind the music documentaries, like Def Leppard or Bon Jovi, and they were talking about some guy was like drinking a lot, and they're like, why was it so hard? He's like, because you're on stage and you're like a god. You're on stage playing guitar at these stadiums. Everybody's looking at you like you transcend just being the common person.
Yeah.
Where you're like, and I think for addicts and alcoholics, we have such low self-esteem that you're on stage and now you're superior to everybody, and it's a rush. I'm great. I'm this great person. And then you get off stage and it's kind of like womp womp womp. Then 5 minutes, your headline, you get all these laughs. Everybody thinks you're awesome. Then you have some Holiday Inn by yourself. 10 minutes later, like. All right. You know what I mean? And it's like, where's the love I need?
I used to test it where I would come off stage. Eventually, I got to the point where I go, I wonder if I could be out of the building before they stop applauding.
Yeah.
Because there was no reason to hang around.
Yeah.
And I would go, thank you, good night, and run out the back door and get my car. I go, there's no point. Because I used to do this test where I would come off stage after I'd done well, and I'd stand in the lobby, and people would walk by me like I didn't exist.
Oh, my God. Or you sell something, and they look at you like...
It was weird in the 80s because the money was so... I bought a house. I'd never done a
Where'd you get for emceeing? I'm talking to Rich. He said you're getting us over $1,000 to MC and airfare.
You weren't getting $1,000. Maybe when... Because I started... Rich started in the early 80s. Rich kind of was one of the first guys doing it.
Yeah.
Rich has a story of just deciding he was funny. There's a guy we're talking about is Rich Scheidner, and... where he told me that he just took off hitchhiking and he'd go to bars and go, I can make everybody in this bar laugh if you give me beer and a sandwich.
Yeah.
And he'd just go over to a bar and he'd go, all right, go stand there. And he would go up and make people laugh. I think he'd go to campgrounds and go, I make you laugh. You let me get in your sleeping bag.
Hey, campgrounds.
Yeah,
That's what I could
work out for
do.
you,
Campground comedy. That can be my new income.
The torch.
When I
Yeah,
started
she's doing
out,
campground comedy for the homeless.
you got $400 or $500 a week to be the MC, and you got your own hotel. That was the opening act. And as a feature act, there were places where you were getting 7, 8, or 9, and then a low-level headliner could get 1,500.
In the 80s?
In the 80s,
The money was bigger in the 80s.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And they told me they had cars. Rich was telling me they
Yes.
had like a car, like a beat-up car for you when you came in town. They would give you like the club car. But you stayed in comedy condos.
Yeah, well, and hotels, but there were condos, yeah.
Did you ever say, oh man, there's one at the Looney Bin in Little Rock. I remember you go there. There was always a guy named Jay Medicine Head. He passed away sadly. But
Is Jay gone?
He did.
I
He
had to
died.
fire Jay once.
Oh my gosh. Well, he was a great guy. But whenever he played the club the week before, there'd be like a drawer full of Magnum condoms right next to the bed. And the mattress would look like someone took the stuffing out with tweezers. The mattress was flat as a pancake. Like, was Jay here last week?
Well,
Did he fuck every one of the wait staff?
You know how Jay did that? It is I'm sorry.
I
he's
shouldn't
gone.
say that, Jesus.
No, you can't.
Why? I'm sure he's proud.
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh.
if he's...
You don't know if what?
He's listening.
I don't know what year this was. It was years ago. No, I don't know if he's was married at the time or whatever. So.
Well, he's passed on, right? Well, the story I'm going to tell wouldn't help his marriage either. Okay? So his wife's not going to hear this.
Okay.
Okay?
Sorry.
I
I'm
owned
sorry.
a comedy club in Oklahoma City called Joker's Comedy Club.
Joker. And they've only been there, too.
Yeah, and well, that's the guys who, Jeff and Larry Marks, they both used to run Stanford's clubs.
Okay.
So I knew them back then. They worked for the Glazer boys.
Yeah.
Back then, now they have their own place now. But I owned a place called Joker's, and we hired Jay Medicine Hat, okay, who I knew, I can't remember his name now, but I knew him when he was a regular comic.
Yeah.
And he gave a young lady a post-hypnotic suggestion. And effective post-hypnotic suggestion. And then when we found out about it, we had to call him over and go, dude, that's like maybe a problem that you hypnotized the girl to tell her that she was madly in love with you and she was going to come over to your hotel right after the show.
Does that work?
It worked.
Yes, we gotta learn
Really
this.
good hypnotist.
This could be the secret.
Okay.
This is how.
Is that really why she went over and hooked up with him because he hypnotized?
What does this guy look like? I
Do you
don't know.
believe it?
I'm like Googling him. I'm like, oh, I'll figure it out.
He died.
Yeah, and
no.
I liked him very much.
Yeah, he was a cool
He was
guy.
a friend.
Yeah.
So, but I remember going, man, he's. So I said, that's too bad. We had to let him go. I said, he's a really good hypnotist. He would do freaky things. He hypnotized a guy on our show one time and told him to imagine that the ceiling was caving in, and the guy about lost his mind.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the guy going,
Yeah.
it's gonna fall. We're not gonna fucking die.
Yeah, I would never get hypnotized. I'd be up there. You come to it. You're like, your pants are down around your ankles, and you're like, what happened?
I always said
The whole crowd's like just staring at you, like.
I would never let anybody hypnotize me because all of a sudden I start blurting out, "The body's under a bridge."
Oh my God.
It's a mistake.
All times I host a show in a bikini.
You look great.
If you had to host a show in a bikini, you wouldn't eat either. You'd probably go back to
Pretty
drugs.
thin.
I'm pretty thin.
Yeah. He might be bikini ready. You know,
I've
I don't
seen his
wanna wrap
ass.
this
It's
up.
very white.
I would love to talk to you guys all
What
day.
did you see
but
my ass?
They're in their own world now.
You never saw me naked.
I've seen your butt
Where?
in Vegas.
In Vegas?
Yeah.
When?
In the hotel room. You like flashed me your butt.
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, whatever.
I did?
Why are you having this conversation? These people want to talk about comedy.
No, you know what? You have no idea.
You never stayed with me in
Enjoying
Vegas. Oh, in New York, New York?
Yes.
I wasn't naked.
When you got in the hot tub. Well, I think what happened is your swim trunks are too big because you're a little thin right now and your butt cheeks were hanging out.
No, they were.
Yes, they were. You have a nice, cute butt, though.
Do you guys tour together?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Can I get a divorce if we got married?
We almost got married in Vegas, and then what happened
That's
is
what we did.
we had plans to get married because we're really good friends. And then Eric showed up on this trip, and he hops in my car first thing in the morning, and he goes, "Hey, don't hit on me anymore. I have a girlfriend now." I
do have a girlfriend.
And now we're sharing this really small hotel room.
I told her we were sharing the room.
We're sharing a really small hotel room, and it's one of those hotel rooms where like there's a toilet and there's a door outside the toilet, but there's no room to change in there, and then there's nowhere else to hide. And I don't care if Eric sees me; I could care less. I could change in the middle of the room, but now that he has a girlfriend, I'm not allowed to get naked in front of him anymore. So now I have to like go change in the hallway of the hotel so that
That's
Eric
not
can't
what I
see me.
said. That's not what I said. She said, "Eric, do you care if I walk around naked?" And I have a girlfriend, so I said, "I can't say that you can do that, but whatever. I can't say that." But look, because first of all, but my girlfriend, she knows no one wants to fuck me because I'm sharing a room with Kate. She's like, "No problem." I'm like, "Can you at least act jealous? Like Kate might want to have sex with me." I'm like, "Kate's walking around naked in front of me. She might want to have sex with me." She's like, "You're fine. I'm not worried at all."
She's not worried.
Girls might want to have sex with me on the road. She's like, "Yeah, sure, honey." Sure. She's like, "I fucked you once, and I'm still a therapist." I'm like,
Guys, we got to wrap up only because it takes us a while to upload this. I want to thank you so much. If you're listening live or if you're picking this up today, September 4th, or this weekend, these two very funny, wonderful people, Erik Meyers and Kate Quigley, will be at the Scottsdale Laugh Factory all weekend. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday.
Actually, Eric will be murdered. I'm sorry to tell you.
Will be murdered.
"You're not listening."
He won't be there.
Jesus Christ, I gotta hear this all fucking day.
Erik will be murdered live on stage by Kate, who will then show it on the Playboy channel, and to her famous boyfriend who's not named Chris. Josh. All right, you've been listening to This American Podcast Comedy Edition. My name's Tony Visick. My wife Shirley Visick at the controls. This has been Erik Meyers and Kate Quigley. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you Monday.